Hello there, and welcome to our latest Elite FPL podcast with myself, Mr. Paul, and my good friend Steve-O. Steve-O, how are you tonight?
Good evening, Dan. Very, very, very unusual settings, but I'm sure you're going to explain now to everybody what's going on and why it's different.
Yeah, it's all a little bit different. Obviously, for those of you that watched our last podcast, you will know that Jason cannot be with us for a few weeks. He's out of the country at the moment. So we are back doing this through Zoom, which is a little bit different. Obviously, we haven't got the live chat and everything like that, but we're still here talking about all things game week 20. A little bit back to basics, but we're still going to be looking at our 12-8 Elite mini league that we take very seriously. We're going to be looking at our own teams, obviously looking at Jason's team as well, because he's still top of the league. And we're also going to be previewing game week 21 as well. But there's been so much football over this Christmas New Year period. It just seems to have not stopped. So that's why this time it's just going to be a brief kind of recap on our own teams and our mini league, predictions ahead. And obviously, if you do watch the video, let us know what you think at the end of that. But yeah, Steve-O, do you want to start off by looking at Jason's team? Still sitting pretty at top of the league.
Well, you say sitting pretty. Yesterday, when he sent us a live league update rank, he was second in our league.
Yeah, he's panicking.
He's now back on top. He's 58 points at the moment. Rashford's going to get a minimum of 2 bonus points after he's got a goal and an assist. Yeah, as I look here now, Rashford looks like he's going to get 2 bonus points. So that's a further 2 extra. So he's probably going to end up on 60 points. The one, if you remember, we both laughed at his transfer that he made. It was Kika Femenia in for Cedric, and Kika Femenia didn't even play. So Aaron Wan-Bissaka's going to come on. So Jason looks like he's going to end up on 62 points. His main point scorers there were Martial, Rashford, as I've just said, Sterling getting an assist today, and Son getting an assist. But it was that massive score, which we're going to look at in a minute, of Salah getting 12 points. I was personally surprised at the amount of people that captained Salah. Were you a bit worried, Dan? Because obviously we'll look at your team in a minute, but were you worried as a Son captainer that when you saw everybody captaining Salah, were you thinking like I was, what the hell is going on here? What did people know that I know when Salah was up against Liverpool? Was it just, up against Arsenal? Was it just a case of, no, wait a minute, Arsenal, well, your team's defence is absolutely appalling. Salah is probably going to do something.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Dexter Roos, that's just above me in the league, he had Salah as well, and I was pretty sure he was going to captain him. So it was kind of this anxiety of, Salah's going to rip Arsenal's defence apart, and he's also going to punish me in FPL terms. I mean, we'll get onto it more later on, but captaining Son was a bit of a not a maverick move as such, but it was a little bit of a risky one, so to speak. I know he's been in great form recently, but that has to come to stop at some point. But yeah, I think a lot of people did go with Salah, and you think about it, Liverpool at home very strong this season. Arsenal's defence has been weak. Our form's been quite poor of recent, so it made a lot of sense, really.
Yeah, so like you said, we're not really going to look predominantly at our mini league, but we'll move on to my team. Now, as everybody will remember when watching the last podcast, I basically revealed that I made a minus 16. I took a minus 16 hit. People laughed. People thought it was a great move. People, though, predominantly said, Steve-O, use your free hit shit. And I said to Dan on a voice message, I cannot tell people how stressful this was picking a team to get it right. As it's turned out, it has gone. It's funny enough. Jack Gleason messaged our Instagram page at Elite FPL, and he said to me, "Oh, congratulations! Your free hit has done really, really well." And I went, "Yeah, but it could have gone a lot more better. For example, that Leicester conceding a last-minute goal." I was so annoyed. I was playing, it was literally like the last few minutes on BBC Final Score. And I heard that, I forget the presenter's name, but he just got up and he was like, yeah, what an amazing goal. I'm thinking, oh God, what's happened here? And I could hear it was at Cardiff, and I'm like, Cardiff have scored, haven't they? Now, I completely, when it comes to any other team, all I think is fantasy football points. I don't even think about how this would affect Burnley, my team. And I was just thinking, I don't believe that Pereira's lost his beep, 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 clean sheet. So, yeah, and also Jamie Vardy coming off, and even Paul Ince on the TV was quite surprised at Jamie Vardy being pulled off. You know, so the point being is that they were a couple of my differential players. Sergio Aguero came through with a goal, but he got a yellow card. I can't believe it. I was just like, so that knocked off a bonus point for him. Martial getting the an assist in the game. But if I talk through what I was going to do, so I've done some of the maths, and this is when it gets interesting. So I'm actually up by a lot of points. So if I'd done the 16-point hit, I would have only got a total of 40 points. That's how much I would have taken. So excluding the minus hit, that's how much. Sorry, taking into account the minus hit, I would have only got 40 points. If I'd have stuck with the team without doing that transfer hit, and the only transfer I was going to do at the time, it was going to be Matt Ryan out for Fabianski, I would have ended up on 43 because I would have captained Kane. If I had have gone with one potential free hit team, which wouldn't have included Salah, and it would have included Sane and Pogba instead, I would have ended up on 43. In fact, 4, 5, 6. Roughly, actually, about 49, because I'm not taking, sorry, this was all done, all this stuff here, everybody, was done prior. This was done at half-time in the Man United game, so I don't actually take into account Pogba's assists, but I would have got approximately 50 points. My actual free hit team, as Dan's got up on the screen, is going to come in with 64 points, I believe. It's going to come in with 64 points. Again, United conceding again, so my Luke Shaw. I know you brought him in last week, and there were Man United defensive fail there again. But yeah, I was really stressed, Dan, about this. I was really concerned. What have I done? I've just completely ruined my team. And we will look into the preview in a minute, but I'm seriously tempted to hit that wild card button. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah. So overall, obviously, I'm very happy, but kind of based on how the other guys who are in our top 4 used their free hit chip prior to this, who have done very well, apart from Jason, I've done very well. So I'm overall happy. So if we look at your team, Dan. So you took a 4-point hit as ever, and I'm sorry to tell you this, mate. You're down by 2 points again. Overall, you're down because who would believe it? David Brooks got an assist in this game against United.
Nice little cross in the box.
Yeah, so 50 points overall. Matt Doherty getting an assist again for that third Spurs goal. Son, your captain. Sterling. Delafeu, one of your transfers coming through. Marcus Rashford there. He's going to get your couple. So you're probably going to end up on 52. But yeah, Dad, if you want to talk for us through your transfers, your team in general.
Yeah, it was a pretty average game week, not a terrible one. But
I've just seen, Westwood got an assist.
Yeah, unbelievable. I didn't even know. But it's the way it happens sometimes. I mean, the most disappointing thing for me was Schmeichel conceding. Because I felt really confident.
I was going to double up.
Yeah. I mean, talk about after the Lord Manor show, beating Chelsea, beating Man City, and then lose at home to Cardiff. But often the way in football. Brought in Digne. I mean, some good fixtures coming off the back of some really good form.
Yes.
Richarlison still in there, and they lost to Brighton. Brighton have been quite good at home this season. It wasn't an easy game, but was pretty disappointed with the returns there. But yeah, Doherty, who I was kind of anxious about having in my team away to Tottenham, but yeah, got 5 points. So that was a good return. Delafeu coming in. Obviously, I took Brooks out. He did really well for me a few weeks ago. Got 2 goals at home to Huddersfield. But yeah, Delafeu, has had some decent bits of form. He's 5.5 million. So I thought I'd get him in just because Brooks' fixture's coming up. But as you just said, obviously today he's got an assist for Ake, so kind of proving me wrong already. But reasonably happy with the game week. Not amazing, but not terrible. Keeps me in there. But like you said, Luke Shaw, brought him in for the game against Cardiff. He conceded there and conceded against Huddersfield and conceded against Bournemouth. So it's quite, in those 3 games against those opponents, to not get any clean sheet returns is quite disappointing, really. Or
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's, from my point of view, again, everybody who plays fantasy football uses hindsight, and we're always chasing points, what happened the week before. And it's funny how I could have brought in, for example, Peltier for Luke Shaw, and I could have got in Pogba for Martial, and I could have actually made a plus 9 on my, almost a plus 12 on my original score, because at the end of the day, Peltier, he came on as a sub and got 1 point. There's only 1 point less than Luke Shaw. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is mad, because Luke Shaw started the season really well. I know he got a goal on the opening fixture against Leicester. That's when I had him in. And people were like, why have you got Luke Shaw in? And then he scored his first goal for Man United, first professional goal, whatever. And I think it's a great move. So, bit disappointed with that one. Captaining Son, I was like in between him and Kane. I was like swapping around, and I was thinking, shall I go safe? Shall I go? So I should have got. Well, I mean, I should have gone with Kane, but it wouldn't have made a massive difference. But reasonably happy with the game week. Keeps me in touch with the kind of top part of our league. But yeah, the defensive returns are a bit disappointing, particularly from Schmeichel and Digne, really. Yeah.
So talking of Digne and the team, we'll look back on yesterday in today's results. Brighton winning, of course. It's just here we go, the start of the 1-0 win. So Brighton winning 1-0. Locadia with a goal, but he's now got 2 in 2. So maybe somebody to look at if anybody's got any Glenn Murray in that, like you did, Dan. You had Glenn Murray in the team, and now this Locadia seems to have, I don't know for a fact, but I'm assuming he's taking his place because Glenn Murray's that injured. 2 in 2. I think he's 5.3. Maybe he's possibly looking at if you want to raise some funds to up your midfield. Then on to Fulham, where all the controversy was. So when I heard about Camara taking the penalty, I'm just thinking, well, here's the perfect time to be potentially having this 4.4 striker in your team that is just, he's starting games, he's getting the odd goal here and there, and then what happens, Dan? Goes and misses it. Did you see the match of the day at all? What happened there? What was going on?
Well, it seemed like there's a bit of an ego trip going on there with the penalty, really. Mitrovic normally takes the penalties for Fulham, and then Cameron was like, well, I scored one at Old Trafford, a few weeks ago, so I'm the man, I'm going to take it, I'm going to get to the points. And Ranieri, he seemed quite a sort of calm and collected guy, wanted to kill him. So obviously no pizza for Camera, but fortunately for Fulham, obviously they got the win. Mitrovic getting back on form, getting an injury time winner, so a massive win for Fulham. Heartbreak for Huddersfield, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a bit. There was a similar situation last season where Benteke took a penalty and missed it for Crystal Palace, and that, it's not really putting the team first. But Fulham got the win. But yeah, you had Camera on your bench, didn't you? I did see that actually before.
Yeah, I did, and I was dreading possibly Martial not playing today and -1 coming off the bench, but thankfully. Yeah, he played and got an assist. So, on to the next 1-0 win. It was, we'd already mentioned it, Cardiff away at Leicester, 1-0. I didn't even realise Maddison missed the penalty. He had his penalty saved. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah, he had some good form coming into the game. He got the assist with Vardy away to Chelsea. He looked like he was getting his swagger back that he had early season. But, yeah, young player took responsibility for the penalty kick. But, great win for Cardiff, but terrible for
Marassa with the goal there. Now on to the biggest shock of the weekend, and possibly, I don't think for you, because admittedly you predicted 2-2, And we all discussed it on the preview pod that, you know, Wolves actually, their record versus the top six is excellent. But winning away tightly, I get. 3-1 is the score that comprehensive. I mean, we've got Jimenez of all players scoring. I know a lot of people have got him, but you know, like we've already mentioned, Doherty there with the assist. Bowley, somebody I had at the beginning of the season. Kane's son. Some of just the more popular names for fantasy players. But yeah, Dan, was the game really a 3-1 victory to Wolves, or was this just pure counter-attack, get a goal, and we'll just defend again?
Yeah, it seemed that Spurs were in control in the first half. Really, they were peppering Wolves' goals with lots of shots in the first half. But yeah, it just seemed like, I don't know whether some fatigue set in for Spurs. I mean, they've been absolutely on fire recently. Obviously, thrashing Bournemouth, thrashing Everton, and whether the sort of complacency or whatever. So there was a bit of a counter-attack effort from Wolves, but they've done it. I mean, they should have beaten us 3-1, really, earlier in the season. We got very lucky. And I did, like Jay's been saying in the previous podcast, Wolves are a dangerous team on the counter-attack.
Yeah.
And Jimenez is, you know, been pretty good value for a lot of owners this season. But yeah, to win 3-1, I mean, Spurs were putting up some great form. But yeah, that title run looks like it's ended before the New Year's even started.
Yes. Moving on to the next game was Watford drawing 1-1. The core, I mean, we mentioned these players in a couple of podcasts ago regarding the informed Watford midfielders to look at would be Decore, Deulofeu and Pereira. And it just seems that each match they seem to take turns who gets attacking returns. And in this case, it's Decore gets the goal, Deulofeu with the assist, Rondon getting the goal for Newcastle. Now then, Dan, we have to talk about, well, I say have to. 5-1 to Liverpool. Now, I said in the podcast, I had it down as 3-0. I said that's me being generous. I thought it could be 4-5 or 6. People at work, before the game was even... This is how mad I was. There's a lot of Arsenal fans at my place of work, and a couple of them are very, very good at predicting what will happen. And one of the guys said to me, it's going to be a minimum of 5, possibly 6. And I went, right, okay. What do you think about Salah then? What do you think he's going to do? And he went, he'll get a hat-trick. Quite comfortably get a hat-trick. Well, it wasn't Salah that got a hat-trick. It was Firmino. I watched, would you believe, because I just thought, you know, I'm just going to see what all this fuss is about regarding Arsenal fan TV. And I watched the episode, and I don't know how Arsenal fan TV works. I don't know if it produces several different interviews for the same match. But I watched this particular one. It just summed up by saying that your team don't seem to know how to play with each other. They don't, as a defensive unit, they just seem that they don't even know how to play in defence. They won't have a clue how to play together. So yeah, Dan, I'm assuming you watched the game. What was going through your mind when it was just goal after goal, especially when you went 1-0 up with, of all players, Maitland-Niles, of all players that scored, and Iwobi getting the assist. But then then it all came in.
You know what? I was actually running a little bit late, so I missed Arsenal's goal, just to rub salt into the wound.
Oh, the irony.
Yeah, I did have a message from former Torbay Elites mini league champion Pete Smith saying, "Oh, do you think Maitland-Niles is going to stop Salah?" And he was like, "Oh, talk of the devil." And I thought, "Oh God, has Salah scored already?" I was like, "Oh, Maitland-Niles has scored, bloody hell." But yeah, I mean, look, at the moment, obviously we're missing Holding. He's out for quite some time now. He's actually been a really important player this season. We're missing Bellerin is a big miss because Lichtsteiner is crap, basically. Well, he's just, you know, he has been obviously a good servant for Juventus and Switzerland in the past, but he just doesn't seem to be able to keep up with the pace of the Premier League. Socrates, not his best game yesterday. And Firmino's been a bit of a forgotten man in FPL terms, really. But yeah, really announced his back again with a hat-trick.
Sorry to interject, Dan. It's funny because I was genuinely toing and froing with, if I wasn't to bring Salah into my free hit chip, which Liverpool assets should I bring in? And I looked at Mane, I looked at Firmino, and I just looked at their recent history, and I'm just like, it's terrible. They haven't scored, they've barely assisted, they've done nothing over the last 4 or 5. I have to get Salah, but yeah, go on.
No, yeah, I mean, I was just, do you know what? After the game, I didn't even particularly care because I kind of saw it coming. I predicted 3-1 in the previous podcast, but we've got so many issues, and like you said, I think what you said, it's just the lack of defensive stability, and it was just, you could just see it coming really. And this thing with Ozil being injured, I don't know what is going on with these constant injuries and whether something's going on behind the scenes. But I think we always talk about confidence and form, and the form of recent, letting in 3 goals away to Southampton, drawing away to Brighton, which wasn't a terrible result, it wasn't a great result. We conceded quite a lot of chances to Burnley, so you could see this coming, and that's probably why a lot of people did captain Salah. But yeah, I mean, it's funny you say about your wild card. I mean, coming into January, we've got to get some sort of defensive reinforcements in. But I'm not, some people yesterday were saying, oh, it's just the same. And what you said at the start of the season about Emre and attacking football, but you did enjoy your football, which we have done so far, but we will probably get some batterings. And yeah, we were kind of due a battering because some games we conceded a lot of chances. We had, Leno making lots of saves or getting a little bit of luck. But we have been conceding a lot of chances, and I'm just glad that game's out of the way. So, yeah, disappointing.
We'll be going into our preview for 21, but I think you're going to get your own back on Fulham. Let's just put it that. So, on to today's games. They're not the greatest from a fantasy perspective, really. Not many assets really doing much. Although, again, I know we're not going into our mini leagues per se, but certainly I saw one of the guys in our elite FPL teams actually had David Luiz, would you believe? And he got an assist today for Kante, Chelsea winning 1-0. And then on to us, 2-0 winners. Something to smile about. And I was joking at work. I kind of was joking, saying that, well, we need to score a minimum of another 4 just to make up for that appalling game versus Everton. But looking at the lineups right now in front of me, I just look at it, I'm just like, back to basics, a 4-4-2. And we got Tom Eaton. I mentioned him, didn't I? If you remember in the last podcast.
Yeah, he did.
Talked about Joe Hart and his seems to jinx everything. And what did you say about Joe Hart at West Ham? They started playing.
They had a relegation scrap, and then he went to Italy. I think it was Torino that he went to. He was the worst goalkeeper in Serie A, and even like England, looking back, actually, like they did really bad at the Euros, and then they did well at the World Cup. So, Joe Hart's had a great career, but yeah, I think, like you said, Burnley. I was happy for you when I saw that result today, because I know it's been an awful season for Burnley. So back to basics.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at the statistics here, and shots on target for us 6, shots off target 8. West Ham 4 on target 3. So it looks like rarely, because very rare is it that when we seem to have statistics like that in our favour, we normally win. But in this case, back to the 4-4-2. Something that we just a fantastic result, Dan. From a real life perspective, it meant nothing because Fulham and Cardiff won. So we're actually level on points with Southampton on 15, who today lost 3-1. Jack Gleeson again mentioning that I had a decent differential in Aguero. Him scoring, David Silva getting a goal, Jason's old friend there. Sterling, Bernardo Silva and Zinchenko with the assists. And then finally, on to the game that's just finished. Man United 4, Bournemouth 1. Paul Pogba getting 2 and an assist for Lukaku. Rashford getting a goal and an assist. Lukaku getting a goal, and Martial and Herrera getting the assist there. You just watched the game, Dan. Is it really United just enjoying themselves and really let's all buy into their attacking assets?
Yes, it does. I mean, Pogba's in fantastic form at the moment. I think a lot of people will be looking to get him in.
Absolutely.
Looks to be playing with more freedom. I think it's just like a feel-good vibe back at Old Trafford, really. And obviously, Solskjaer seems to have the players on side. Fergie's been at the training ground this week, so there's all sort of, it's all good, positive noises coming out of coming out of Manchester United. But yeah, they did look a lot freer today. Rashford looks full of confidence. Obviously, I had him in, and he seems to be doing quite well at the moment. And as we've said in previous podcasts, the fixtures for United are pretty good going into the new year. So I think a lot of people will be looking to get probably free United players coverage moving forward, to be fair.
Yeah, well, moving forward, I think we will preview the upcoming game week 21. Midweek fixtures, Tuesday, Wednesday, ending on Thursday. I've just literally just looked at this, and it all starts at 12:30 on Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Everton versus Leicester.
Mad, isn't
it? And even your game against Fulham is at 3:00. So, like you said, just football coming thick and fast. Now, obviously, Jason isn't here to do the predictions, but what I will say is that, and I kind of knew this when I invited Jason to do the predictions, because whenever we kind of asked him what he thought of games when you and I went up against the history, whenever he predicted games, off the top of my head, he rarely got them right, and proof is in the pudding this week. He's only got, well, I say he's only got 4 out of 10. I mean, you got 5 out of 10, and I've got 3, 4, 5. I got 6 out of 10, but I got the City game bang on. So because I got the score bang on, I get that extra point. So 6 out of 10. But anybody watching this, I would highly recommend probably listening to myself, because I'm pretty good at predicting games here. I'm sure if somebody was, I take notes myself, and if I was to look back and everything, I'm pretty close with a lot of the predictions and everything. So anyway, enough about that. We will just get on with them predicting things. So Dan, I'm going to go with Everton to beat Leicester. I think they're going to get back to winning ways. I seem to predict Everton winning 2-0, 2-1 every single week, but I'm going to go with a 2-0 win. The last time these two met this season, it ended 2-1 to Everton, and Sigurdsson and Richarlison in with the goals there. So, Dan, what do you think on Everton versus Leicester?
Yeah, Everton obviously had that bit of a shock result at Brighton. Leicester had a shock result as well, so both teams want to bounce back. But yeah, I'm going to go for an Everton win, actually, based on the previous fixture as well. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory for Everton.
Now, onto your lads, Arsenal. I think, do you know what? These next 2 games, I think, are where if you have either Harry Kane or Aubameyang, this is really a toss of the coin here. I think both teams are going to be on the backlash. So we'll start with Arsenal versus Fulham. I originally was thinking maybe 5 or 6, but I'm going to go with 4-0. I think you're going to keep a clean sheet, despite Fulham's recent turn of fortune, keeping it tight at the back. I think Emre is just going to go, right, lads, I want you to prove that you can actually win a game here. I'm going to go 4-0. We all know what happened last time. It was 5-1 to Arsenal. Lacazette on the score sheet twice, and Aubameyang, of course, coming off the bench, scoring 2 and getting an assist. Dan, what are you thinking ahead of this game?
Feels like a long time ago, that 5-1 victory. Fulham have kept a couple of clean sheets in recent games, actually. They've picked off, and I think Fulham will score. I think Mitrovic could, if anyone's still got Mitrovic or brought him in recently, they could get returns, actually, because I just see us conceding most games now. We have hardly kept any clean sheets this season, but I think we'll win. I think we'll bounce back. I think it's just it's a good fixture to bounce back from after losing away to Liverpool. I think it's a good fixture to have. I think we'll win 3-1, and I think Aubameyang is a great captaincy pick for this game week.
Well, I think at the moment he's not my captain. I'm going with this next man. I'm going with Harry Kane. up against Cardiff, and if everybody remembers this last game, everybody was saying, "Yep, get on Harry Kane." And I said at the time, bit risky. The history's going with a 1-0 victory to Spurs here, and that's what happened. It was 1-0, and of all players, Eric Dyer to get that one solitary goal. I think they're going to really go. Funny enough, I think both Arsenal and Spurs are up against two teams which their defences aren't actually that bad, but I think Spurs are going to do some damage here. I'm going to go again. I'm going with 4-0.
Yeah, it's a good game for Spurs to have after the shock defeat to Wolves. Like you said, Kane is a good captaincy pick as well. I think I could probably I may captain Kane, either Kane or Aubameyang. Good win for Cardiff though. They always had some good results this season, but yeah, I think Spurs should win this quite easy. I'm going to go 3-0 for Spurs.
Now then, Bournemouth, a team which just can't seem to buy a win at the moment. They're at home to Watford, and I don't think they're going to win this either. I think Watford have picked up of late, and I think they're going to take advantage of Bournemouth's poor form. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Watford, Dan. And the last time these two met, if you remember, this was a time when a lot of people were thinking of captaining Wilson, and he got a goal and assist. Josh King was in there with 2 goals. David Brooks got a goal, and Fraser just the one solitary assist, and it ended 4-0 to Bournemouth, and that was at Vicarage Road. So what can they do here? But yeah, what do you think on Bournemouth versus Watford, mate?
Yeah, that was quite a shock result at the time. I think it's correct in saying that Watford had a man sent off.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, Cavaselli.
Yeah, bad challenge actually, but yeah, like you said, Bournemouth obviously they lost today. They've let in 9 goals in the last 2 fixtures, so very well. I know obviously it's a tough game, very worrying times for Bournemouth fans. I think it'll be quite a good match to watch actually, and I'm quite confident that Deulofeu could get some returns here. But I'm going to say 2-2 actually in this
game. 2-2. Now then, again, Chelsea versus Southampton. We both use this line. I think it's going to be a professional job here. Although Southampton seem to be able to score goals. So I was originally going to go with 3-0, which is what it ended last time. Hazard getting a goal and assist. And again, this was another game where Barkley was on the radar for a lot of people. He got a goal and assist, and Morata getting the other one. It ended 3-0. I'm going to go 3-1, though, to Chelsea. Dan?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Southampton have picked up recently. Obviously, they lost 3-1 to Man City today, but they give them a decent match. But yeah, like I said, I think Chelsea are just sort of picking along a little bit now, picking up a little bit more form. I'm going to go 2-0 to Chelsea.
Now, Huddersfield versus Burnley. God, the history was predicting a 1-1 last time, and yeah, it ended 1-1. I still think it's going to be 1-1 this game. I'd love to think we'd go on a bit of a run now where we get another win, because this is a 6-pointer at the end of the day. This is the ultimate 6-pointer. I just don't think we got it in us I don't think, like with Fulham, like with Cardiff, ironically, like with I think the problem with Huddersfield is that they just don't have the quality. That's the difference. Fulham and Cardiff have got the fight in them, whereas we're just. The way I see our team, we're just in this comfort zone where I don't know why. I just think our players may be thinking that we seem to be safe. I don't think our manager's going to lose his job. So if we just try and tick along, I just don't think it's going to work though. And I have this gut feeling that we may actually even lose this game. I'm going 1-1. It may even be 0-0. But yeah, Dan, what do you think on this? Very, very hard to call game between Huddersfield and Burnley.
Well, it is. Yeah, every week I always say this is a massive, massive game. That's one of my often used lines. But yeah, this is a massive, massive game for both teams. It is a 6-pointer. And like you say, Huddersfield, they don't really have the quality of the goal scorers, and that goal has been such a problem for them this season. They've got a lot of fight in them, and they've got good team ethic, and they'll give their all. They won't go down. They'll go down fighting, so to speak. But Yeah, this game's not going to be one that I'm particularly want to watch, but I'm going to go for. I'm going to go 0-0, which is not a score I say that often. But yeah, I'm going to go 0-0. I think it will be the points will be shared.
Now, I wonder if West Ham will now be thinking, right, we've got to get back up on the score sheets again. They're up against Brighton, but the last time these two met ended 1-0. I think Brighton are going to put up a fight here. And I'll tell you what, my free hit chip goalkeeper in betting on Button to start really paid off. Not only did he get me a clean sheet, he got me a save point, and he also got me 2 bonus points. So an absolute pick out of the bag there. And I was actually thinking, shall I bring him in as a transfer from a team? An actual proper transfer instead of Matt Ryan, but I looked at their upcoming fixtures and I thought, nah, he's got no hope in hell of doing anything. He's got, after West Ham, he has got the Liverpool at home, and then I think it's Man City away or something. No, Man United, they're away at Man U, so yeah, I just thought, forget that, I'm not bringing him in. So I'll go into who I brought in a minute, but I think they're going to cancel each other out in this game. Although I did notice that on the thing just now that Marko Arnautovic is back. Maybe someone to watch over with, obviously a lot of people with Felipe Anderson in their team. But, yeah, West Ham versus Brighton, I'm going to go, cancel each other out, 1-1. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, it's an interesting game. I know Brighton had a big win there last season, if you remember. And, West Ham needs to bounce back after a 4 defeat today. So, obviously, disappointing for Felipe Anderson owners. Obviously, he delivered in the previous game against Southampton to get the points in today. So, I think they'll cancel each other out. I'm going to copy you, actually, but I think 1-1.
1-1 there. Again, I'm going to go with exactly the same on the next game. It's Wolves versus Crystal Palace. It ended 1-0 last time to Wolves. 2 very popular FPL assets here. Jimenez getting the assist and Doherty scoring the goal in this case. It was 1-0 to Wolves. I don't know why, I just feel that in this game, this is going to be quite a poor game. I'm going to go with 0-0, surprisingly. What do you think, Dan, on Wolves versus Crystal Palace?
It's a tough one to call. I remember that particular game week was when I'd bought Patricio and Doherty in just
right.
after my wild card, and he got me 15 points, and Patricio got me loads of points. I was buzzing that particular game week. So, I mean, Wolves will be obviously on a massive high after beating Tottenham, but then, as we've said in previous podcasts, they have kind of struggled against teams that are sort of lower down in the league, teams that will, not park the bus, but be a bit more defensive. We can't really do their natural counter-attacking game, but yeah, I'm gonna stick with Doherty in my team. Very pleased to return this game week. Tough one to call, but I'm gonna go 1-0 to Wolves. Tight game.
So repeat of their last game. Now then, this is on to the famous match that happened this year where Newcastle went ahead. Was it 2-0 they went ahead again? Old Trafford?
They always raise ahead.
Yeah. And along came Fellaini and Mata, and it ended 3-2 to United. Martial in there with another goal, and Pogba getting an assist in this game. I think that United, again, we've already discussed, they're going to go there with confidence. They're going to concede, of course. 3-1 to United. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle, obviously the rivalry in the past when they were fighting for the Premier League in the mid-90s, and they beat, obviously Newcastle did beat United this season, last season at home, 1-0. Got 2 goals at Old Trafford. It could be an interesting game, but yeah, United just full of confidence and on form. I'm going to go 2-1 to Manchester United.
And finally, on to the biggest game. Well, I say the biggest, but it is the biggest game of the season so far. But Liverpool have got a 7-point cushion over this, and is it 7 points? That is, isn't it?
Yeah.
7 points ahead of City, and I honestly, this game ended 0-0 last time these played, and you know what? I was very, very tempted with a 0-0 myself. Liverpool are just outstanding defensively. I'm going to go 1-1, mainly because of the form of Salah and the fact that City are just so good at home. I'm very tempted by 0-0 here. But this is going to be absolutely an incredible chess game, I think, between Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. Because Pep Guardiola, at the end of the day, he's going to be... You know what? He's going to be going there thinking... they're going to be at home thinking, we've got to win this. Well, that's the perfect game for Liverpool. A bit like with Wolves, who just sit back, soak it all up, and then bang attack. Liverpool are going to be loving this. And you know what? This could end up anything to Liverpool. Could be like 4-5-1 or something like that. You never know. But
you never know.
I think they're just going to cancel each other out, mate. And I'm going to go with a 1-1. I don't think, captaincy-wise, I think it'd be very, very unwise to pick Salah, because I just don't think he's going to do much in this game. But Dan, what do you think on Man City versus Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, it's an absolutely massive game to decide the Premier League. At the end of the day, Man City have got to win, so they've got to go out and attack. And Liverpool seems to have a bit of we always talk about the history. I mean, last season Champions League, they beat them twice. Obviously, they beat them at Anfield. Well, they did lose the early game in the season 5-0. But yeah, you know, I'm saying all this stuff, and I've just got this weird feeling that Man City are going to win, and I don't know why. I really don't. I don't know whether Aguero is going to have just an amazing game or something. But Liverpool haven't lost in the Premier League yet this season, and it will be like, I think it'll be like a cup final atmosphere at the Etihad, and the fans will be really up for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Man City, although they've had some poor results recently. Confidence, but they've got the win today, admittedly against Southampton, but still a win to win. I don't know why, but I'm going to go for 2-1 to Man City, and not because Liverpool beat us 5-1, something like that.
And the frightening thing is that even if they do lose, they're still 4 points clear at the top. Ahead of City.
It would make it more interesting, but yeah, there's no logic particularly behind what I've just got this feeling. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So
we've predicted all the results there. Have you got any thoughts on your team ahead of, well, the upcoming game week, basically? I mean, I'll go into mine because I've done it already. I've done a transfer today. It's an emergency transfer. So I've got rid of Matt Ryan. I had to, and I've brought in Patrizio. I think for me, looking at his upcoming fixtures, barring Man City, it's the best team. He's the best. He seems to be the best keeper to go with. I was seriously thinking of going with Jordan Pickford, but I was a bit short of money on that. I'm pretty confident ahead of this game week. I am extremely tempted to go with a wild card. I'm very tempted. I feel that for me, going forward, I think personally 3-5-2 is the best way to go. And the two strikers I've looked at are either Aubameyang and sorry, I've lost the voice. Aubameyang or Aguero, a double up, which would mean, unfortunately, that I would have to sacrifice not having Hazard. Or I go with Aubameyang or Aguero and play them alongside Jimenez and have and it would always be Camara as my third striker. My 5-man midfield would consist of, well, basically key players to their team. So Felipe Anderson, Richarlison, Sterling, Hazard and Salah. But this is when it gets tough because my back five would be suffering heavily. I could still keep a Liverpool defender, and it'd probably have to be downgraded Robertson to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I'd keep Lindelof because for 4.8 you can't go wrong with a United defender at that price. Kolasinac I wouldn't have. I'd get rid of him. I wouldn't know who to bring in. I'd have to bring in a load of cheap defenders. That's the only downside to playing a 3-5-2 with such heavy hitters. So yeah, I'm in a bit of a tough spot, but as it stands, I'm going with Kane captain away at Cardiff, mainly because Kane's record away from home, that's where he's predominantly got his double-digit scores, I've noticed, away from home. So I'm quite happy with that. But I'm very, very tempted with going Aubameyang against Fulham. I do like looking at history and players that have got good form against certain... I mean, even when I was listening to the United game and when Lukaku came on and the commentator said that Lukaku's got a ridiculous record versus Bournemouth. He just seems to love scoring against them. Literally within 30 seconds, he scores again. It's frightening. So I do think that players that have a good history... I mean, even Aubameyang versus Burnley, I said he was a very, very good captaincy pick because of what he did to us last season. And then this season, he went and did what he got his double-digit score again. So, yeah, I'm in a bit of a to and fro. The only reason I wouldn't use my wild card is because what I like to do when it comes to the double game weeks is I like to load up with double game week players via the build-up of transfers. And then when it came to the double game week, I'd obviously have them. But then I'd wild card them all out. I think I may be changing my strategy because I just think that I've got to get in Salah, mate. I've got to get in Salah. And as I explained on this Instagram post yesterday, having Salah in your team absolutely destroys basically the rest of your squad because he's so expensive and he is the equivalent of having two midfield slots. So I was even looking at having Paul Pogba and Sane instead of having. What do you think, Dan, on having Salah? Because obviously you don't have him either, do you?
Well, I mean, I've just got him up on the screen now, looking at his recent returns. You know, he's on great. Yeah, he's owned by 40.6% at the moment. But like you said, that price is quite prohibitive, 13.2, and that inhibits the rest of your team a little bit. But look, at the end of the day, we always talk about the eye test. He's in great form at the moment. Liverpool are absolutely flying. And yeah, it's just point. I mean, I've got people above me in our mini league that have got Salah, and that's punishing me. And I've only been able to keep pace because Son's been doing well. But then Son is obviously off to this Asia Cup, which isn't actually that long, but still, it's going to miss out for a few game weeks. So, but I think what you're saying about getting all the investment, the 3-5-2. I mean, I'm always a big fan of 3-4-3, but 3-5-2. All the value this season seems to be coming from the midfield assets. And obviously a lot of people in their teams, they have one heavy hitter and then perhaps a budget striker or mid-range striker or even two budget strikers, like the likes of Jimenez, Wilson doing really well as well. But yeah, it is with the wild card, it is very tempting as soon as we get the chance to do it all again. You feel like you can start again with your team and catch up the pace. But as you say, with those double game weeks later in the season, that's when it can really pay off if you're able to have some patience and hold on to that. So, but I mean, like you said, your team that you said sounds good, but it's just that, as you said, defensive. We had so many good returns from high, like Alonso and people like that, Trippier and people like that. So, yeah, you were about to say.
No, I was going to ask. Do you think Pogba could actually? I'm just asking as a live question here. Because I'm just looking from my team now, and I'm just kind of like playing around with it. And do you think actually Pogba's a better buy than Sterling?
That's a tricky one because Sterling. I mean, I'm just going to look at my team actually because I've got Sterling in. I mean, Sterling has been ridiculous the first half of the season. He's just had a few game weeks of recent where he kind of tailed off a little bit, but still getting assists. But if we have a look at Sterling now, his ownership, wow, it's actually 12.4%. I was expecting it to be higher than that, but like I said, 11.4. Wow, how much is Pogba worth?
Pogba's 8.1. So
that's going to go up pretty soon.
Oh yeah, I mean he's going to go up probably to 8.3, and he's owned by 22%, of the game. Fly up to probably about 30% by the next game week. And I think that a lot of people are going to sell Sterling for Pogba. It's the knee jerk, isn't it? That everybody does. But certainly I'm just playing around with this here, and it's going to be tough, mate, for me. I mean, are you personally tempted by hitting that wild card button?
Not just yet. Not just yet because of, I don't know. I also think about what transfers could there be in January as well. You know, what big transfers could there be? But to be fair, the last few years, I mean, loads of massive transfers in January. But yeah, it is. I think that's the thing with Salah. It is very tempting. I'm quite patient with Sterling, but I'm just looking actually at his recent returns. I know he got an assist today, but we've got 5, 2, 2, 6, 2, 0, 9. So he's not really hitting the heights of the early season, like when he got 21 points, you know, at home to Southampton, and 14 points against Bournemouth, and looking at the purple patch in the early season. So it can be quite. I mean, I'm quite wary of taking out heavy hitters for taking a hit. Sorry, for heavy hitters. You know, a -4 or -8 or whatever. But my patience is there at the moment. But it is going to be a tough one. I mean, I've also got my team up on the screen now. I'm quite happy with my team going forward. But what is your, just off the top of your head now, who are your captain plans? Have you got any transfers in mind? Yeah, I mean, captain at the moment, the Almaz team are going to be on Aubameyang or Kane, as we previously discussed in the preview. But it's funny you mentioned goalkeepers, because obviously I've got a bit of a headache when it comes to my goalkeeper situation. I just brought Schmeichel up at the moment. And yeah, looking at the fixtures ahead, I mean, Everton away, that's going to be a tough one. I think you'll concede there. Home to Southampton, away to Wolves, away to Liverpool, home to Man United, away to Spurs. Wow. So I need to do something about this, just reading it out loud now. You can see my reaction. So, yeah, I think looking forward, I think I may need to switch my goal. I've had Schmeichel in since my wild card for quite some time now. But, yeah, I think it's time to, serve me well, as Jay likes to say often, but it's time to move Schmeichel on. And just try. I think this game week coming up, I don't need to take a hit. So it may literally just be that boring move of one transfer, change the goalkeeper, captain a safe option, and keep steadily ticking over and see how Sterling does. But yeah, Pogba is very tempting at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing this live as we speak. And you know what? If I was as it stands right now, if I was to play a 3-5-2 each week, okay, I would have this team in defence. So it would be Lindelof, David Luiz, and Alexander-Arnold as my consistent 3 defenders. I've then got Bennett, and then I've got 5.9 million to spend because, and I will go into this in a minute, because my 5-man midfield, I wouldn't have a City asset, which alarm bells would be ringing. It would be Felipe Anderson, Richarlison, and it would be Salah, Hazard, and Pogba. And my front 3 would be Aubameyang, Jimenez, and Camara as my third playing. So what do you think of that? Just me doing that out loud now with no City coverage. And I'm basically, in other words, I'm going, I'd rather have Pogba instead of, in other words, Sterling or Aguero. What do you think on that? Do you think it's very risky, or?
I think it's
I just think moving forward, without having Salah, you just shoot yourself in the head, because he's just going to be a player which, if you've got him, barring the upcoming game against City, you're going to captain him every single week.
Just like last season. But yeah, I mean, when you were saying about some of the fixtures coming up, I'm just going to actually go back to your team and look at Salah. So, yeah, I mean, obviously Man City, but then you've got Brighton away, Palace at home, Leicester at home, West Ham away, Bournemouth at home. Wow. Even just reading that out loud, like you say, you're going to be captaining him. If you don't, I mean, he's not really at much risk of rotation as well.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing as well. Now, obviously, with the Champions League, they're out the the group stage is gone. So it's just, you know, they've got the game, two-legged game against Bayern Munich. So maybe before that game, there might be slightly less minutes if they're playing a weaker opponent at home, i.e., you know, one of the lower league teams. But yeah, I mean, you're saying this. So at first, I was like, oh, well, you know, it inhibits the rest of the team. And now I'm thinking, you know, got the thought process out loud. I'm thinking, wow, Stevo's got a bloody good point there. So without Salah, could really damage your season. So yeah, cheers for that selection headache. But yeah, I mean, he does seem essential.
It's just thoughts out loud, mate. And I mean, I've just funny enough. Again, you may be able to tell me more, but Marcus Rashford is now yellow flagged. Coming off with a groin strain. Do you think that's serious? Or and do you think, here's another question for you, do you think that Lukaku, now he's fit and ready, do you think he's now going to be in the team ahead of Rashford, or do you think Solskjaer's going to be like, no, we've got a winning formula here, I ain't gonna stop playing these lads, I'm going to let them continue, unless, ironically, injury plays a part?
Do you know what, it's one of those things when a player hits some form, does really well, and he gets in, he's in ahead of a more, you know, senior player or more established player, and it's just bad luck. It's really bad for Rashford. I don't know the extent of the injury. I mean, obviously, you know, he had the injury, went off, so I'll have to wait and see what they say in the press conference or later on today. But yeah, I think Lukaku could be interesting because, as I said before, in terms of a differential premium forward for those fixtures United have got, he could now, you know, getting a goal against Bournemouth, gets confidence up. If Rashford injury does keep him out for a few weeks, he'll be back in the team. And yeah, not many people have benefited from having Lukaku. Obviously, Lukaku's form has been dreadful this season, but you know, that could be a real potential differential in, you know, in opposition to Aubameyang or Kane or Aguero, i.e. the usual suspects. So that could be one to factor into the wild cards. If he starts, you know, if he gets a goal in the next game against Newcastle, for example, then that bandwagon, people could be jumping right on it. So it's all to play for in the new year, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that concludes everything, Dan, really, unless you've got anything more to add regarding your team moving forward. I think we've done it, mate.
Yeah, I think that's it. Like, I mean, it's you know, as you said about the injury to Rashford, that could be something I might have to consider as well for my transfers. But for everyone who's watched this podcast, obviously, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment, and if you've not subscribed to the channel, please do. It obviously helps us as we're going with our channel.
Yeah, talking of which, Dan, help. This is a challenge for anybody that's watched it this far. By the next game week, so we're talking only a few more days here, so we're only talking up till Tuesday. Try and help us get to 200 subscribers. We're at 191 at the moment. Be amazing if we get to 200 by Tuesday. So if you're watching this now, hit that subscribe button. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Obviously, I was just alluding to, there's our favourite word. We always get it in there somehow. That has been a slightly different podcast. Obviously, as I said before, Jason's been away. But please do stick with us. He'll be back in the new year. And obviously, we're going to be here talking about every game week, reacting, looking ahead. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And all I've got to say, obviously, everyone that's been watching, have yourself a happy new year. Try not to get too drunk. And look forward to seeing you all in 2019. How mad is that to say? Thanks a lot, guys.
See you later, guys.